We are going to learn how to make the right leaning cable, which is worked over for stitches. It's the column on the right. This is the 2x2 right leaning cable stitch symbol. Let's go. Use waste yarn and cast on 12 stitches. Knit 7 rows stopping at the right. You can knit any number of rows for waste yarn. Switch to main yarn color. Knit 12 rows with loose tension, just enough to knit each stitch properly. Do not pull at the yarn nor use the tension bar as it may form tight stitches. Run it through your hand gently. It's best to use yarn that is stretchy for cables, like merino, but I understand not everyone is fond of wool. I am using Marvel 12-ply acrylic for this tutorial. It's important to have loose tension, especially when using acrylic yarn, as it has no give. Mark the 5th stitch from the right. Place your stitch marker on the 3rd bar from the pin. Mark the 6th, 7th, and 8th stitch. Mark them in pairs of the same color. Knit the first 4 stitches, crank slowly. Drop the 4 marked stitches one by one. Remove the yarn from under the pin. Now, release the 4 strands of yarn from the marked stitches slowly. The stitch markers will stop the stitches from dropping further. Secure these to markers with a clip to keep them away at the back. Check the 4 yarn bars. We are going to start forming the first twist for this 2x2 right leaning cable. Pick up the 2 pink markers. The pink marker in your right hand is the one to start with. We have to bring it up to the first pin on the right. Place your crochet hook under the 4th bar and poke the tip through the stitch. Remove the stitch marker. Pick the bars up one by one. 3rd bar. 2nd bar. 1st bar. Hook the stitch onto the first pin. After each stitch, tighten it by pulling at the yarn bars. Pull every bar slowly so that the stitches stay downwards neatly below the pin. Place the crochet hook here and pull to remove as much slack as you can. Put the working yarn back below the pin and knit the first stitch. Remove the yarn again. Next, bring the stitch on the left up to the second pin. Hook under fourth bar, into the stitch. Remove stitch marker. Bring the stitch up. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Hook it to the pin. Remove slack from the stitch. Pull every bar slowly. Use the crochet hook to help keep them neat. Place working yarn back under the pin and knit that stitch. Remove it again. Remove the clip. We will now form the second twist of the cable. Clip the stitch on your left and keep it away at the back. We will bring the stitch on the right up to the third pin. Give the free bars a quick check. Place hook under the fourth bar and into the stitch. Remove stitch marker. Bring the stitch up to the third pin. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Hook it to the third pin. Place working yarn back and knit this stitch. Remove yarn one last time. Remove the clip from the last marked stitch. Remove stitch marker. Check the bars. Pull at each bar. Place the hook into the stitch and pull it slightly to the left. Place hook under the fourth bar and bring the stitch up. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Hook it to the fourth pin. Place working yarn back under the pin and knit the stitch. Knit the last 4 stitches. This marks the end of row 1. You have made your first cable twist. Knit 7 more rows ending on the right. Remember to not pull at the working yarn. Keep a loose tension, just enough to knit each stitch properly. Go slow at the start and last stitch so as not to drop any stitches. Cable repeat 2. Mark the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th stitches again. Remember to pick the third bar from the pin. Knit first for stitches. Drop all the marked stitches. Make sure you don't drop any of the knitted stitches on the right side. Crank slowly. Remove the working yarn. Loosen the fur yarn bars. Place the crochet hook under the fur yarn bars to straighten and loosen them up. Clip these to stitches and drop them behind. Bring the stitch with the blue marker on the right side up to the first pin. Hook under the fourth bar and into the stitch. Remove marker. Bring the stitch up. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Place stitch onto the first pin. Pull the yarn bars to keep the stitches neat under the pin. Use the crochet hook to help keep them on one side. Next, bring the stitch with the blue marker up to the second pin. Remove yarn again. Hook under the fourth bar and into the stitch. Remove the stitch marker. Bring stitch up to the second pin. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Place stitch onto the second pin. Put the working yarn back and knit that stitch. Remove yarn. Tighten up that stitch by pulling at the yarn bars. Just hook the yarn bars up one by one and pull gently. Remove the clip from the pink stitch markers. Clip the one in your left hand and leave it behind for the time being. We are going to make the second cable twist with the right stitch onto the third pin. Hook under the fourth bar and into the stitch. Remove stitch marker. Bring the stitch up one by one starting with the fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Place the stitch onto the third pin. Pull at the four yarn bars to tighten up the stitch. Place yarn back under the pin. Knit the stitch. Remove working yarn once more. Unclip the pink stitch marker to bring it up to the fourth pin. Hook under the fourth bar and into the stitch. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Place the stitch onto the fourth pin. Put the working yarn back. Knit the last stitch of the cable, also the remaining 4 stitches for this row. Knit another 7 rows. Remember to use loose tension. Mark the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th stitch. Knit the first 3 stitches. We now drop the 3rd stitch all the way down to the bottom stitch to do a ribbing. Use a crochet hook and do the ribbing all the way back up to the pin. Place the stitch back onto the 4th pin and knit it. Drop the next 4 marked stitches same as before. Pull the working yarn away. Release the yarn bars. By now you should already know how to construct the cable twist. I will still prompt anyways. Set the 2 pink stitches aside. Right blue stitch to the first pin. Remove slack. Left blue stitch to the second pin. Remove slack. Clip left pink stitch and work the right pink stitch up to third pin. Remove slack. Now work the last pink stitch to the fourth pin. Knit the last cable stitch. Drop the next stitch all the way down to the bottom and make a ribbing back to the top. Cable columns are always flanked by ribbing to separate them from the main knit stitches. Also, to make the cables stand out, you can have 1 or 2 purl stitches depending on your pattern chart. Finish knitting this row and knit another 3 rows. Switch to waste yarn and knit a few more rows, then cast off. Give your work a good stretch to even out the stitches and tension. Now admire your beautiful work of art. Right leaning cable. You did it. Pretty, ain't it? Left leaning cable tutorial will be in the next video. So, subscribe and hit that notification bell for the new video update. Thank you for watching.